Hi guys, in this video, we will talk about the systematic Russian attacks on Ukraine's critical energy infrastructure, the onset of the harsh winter, and the use of the new Arnik missile, accompanied by direct threats from Putin against decision-making centers in Kyiv. Since the beginning of the conflict in February 2022, Russia has systematically targeted Ukraine's energy infrastructure. This strategy, intensified during the winter months, aims not only to weaken Ukraine's industrial and military capacity, but also, and primarily, to directly impact the civilian population. In the context of a harsh winter with frequently sub-zero temperatures, the destruction of power grids and heating systems can turn daily life into a living nightmare for millions of people. The numbers are genuinely alarming. According to DTEK, Ukraine's largest private energy provider, its facilities have been attacked over 190 times since the start of the war. Recently, at the end of November 2024, in a single attack, more than 90 missiles and 100 drones were launched, leaving over 1 million Ukrainians without electricity in freezing temperatures. Regions such as Lviv and Kherson suffered severe outages, and repair crews face immense challenges due to low temperatures and repeated attacks. The logic behind Russia's approach is quite clear. By destabilizing the energy system, Russia seeks to undermine public morale and increase pressure on the Ukrainian government. For Moscow, this tactic is also a way to demonstrate that it can prolong the conflict in a devastating manner. However, from the perspective of international humanitarian law, these attacks are classified as war crimes, as they target infrastructure essential to civilian survival, explicitly prohibited under the Geneva Conventions. This adds to the long list of war crimes committed by Vladimir Putin in his invasion. The human consequences are devastating. Hospitals, many of which are frequently hit in direct Russian attacks, are forced to operate with emergency generators, while schools and homes face constant power outages. Additionally, the severe conditions of the Ukrainian winter amplify the suffering. Without electricity, many families are unable to heat their homes, cook food, or even access clean water. Temperatures have already begun to drop, with reports of snow in various regions, and the coming months are expected to bring even more challenges. Beyond the humanitarian impact, there is also a strategic dimension to these attacks on infrastructure. The Ukrainian government has redoubled its efforts to protect its critical networks with support from equipment donated by the European Union and the United States, which have already invested hundreds of millions of euros in repairs and emergency equipment. However, the scale and intensity of Russian attacks make a full recovery difficult. The Russian Arnik missile, tested in combat for the first time against the city of Dnipro, marks another concerning escalation in the conflict. Described by Vladimir Putin as impossible to intercept, this hypersonic weapon boasts an impressive speed exceeding 13,600 kilometers per hour, and its kinetic impact is compared to that of a meteor, according to Putin's statements. Experts, however, describe the Arnik as an experimental missile, and Russia still has a limited number of these weapons. Nonetheless, this does not diminish the extreme seriousness of the threat it poses. The missile is capable of hitting targets at great distances with incredible precision, and its description as practically nuclear in terms of impact heightens international concerns. Putin stated that decision-making centers in Kyiv, including the parliament and possibly the presidential office, are within the Arnik sites. So far, Russia has avoided direct attacks on these institutions, but recent statements suggest a change in stance. These threats have caused panic in Kyiv, even leading to the cancellation of parliamentary sessions as a precaution. From a strategic perspective, the Arnik serves multiple purposes. First, it is an intimidation tool meant to reinforce Russia's position at a time when Ukraine is gaining more military support from the West, including the authorization to use long-range weapons against targets within Russian territory. Second, it seeks to test the resilience of Ukraine's air defenses, such as the Patriot systems provided by the United States. Western experts, however, doubt the claims of invulnerability surrounding the missile, pointing out that Russia has made similar claims about other weapons that were successfully intercepted. Such was the case with the Kinjal, a missile that was also initially described by Putin as impossible to intercept, but has since been successfully countered by Western defenses. In recent weeks, Putin has made a series of statements highlighting the escalation of tensions in the conflict. He justified the use of the Arnik as a response to the deployment of long-range missiles supplied by the West to Ukraine, such as the ATACMS, which were recently used to strike targets within Russian territory. For Putin, this demonstrates the West's direct involvement in the conflict, a narrative he uses to rally domestic support and justify his actions. Additionally, Putin criticized any possibility of Ukraine acquiring nuclear weapons, a very remote likelihood, but still claimed that Moscow would use all means to prevent it. He also accused the United States of using the war as a political tool, anticipating that the newly elected president, Donald Trump, may seek negotiations favorable to Kyiv. These statements and threats by Putin aim to shape the geopolitical discourse and pressure Western powers. Meanwhile, Western leaders have condemned the recent attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure and reaffirmed their commitment to defending the country. President Joe Biden described the recent bombings as indefensible, while the European Union and NATO further expanded their military and economic support to Kyiv. This dynamic creates a scenario of prolonged war, with both sides hardening their positions and actions. The recent escalation raises critical questions about the future of the war in Ukraine. Russia's strategy of targeting energy infrastructure and the introduction of the Arnik missile demonstrate Moscow's willingness to prolong the conflict at any cost. This Russian approach has profound humanitarian, military, and diplomatic implications, affecting not only Ukraine, but also European stability and the international system as a whole. On the other hand, Ukraine continues to resist with increasing Western support, but the economic and military strain is evident, with the onset of winter adding another layer of complexity, making the coming months decisive for both sides. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the best news from the military and political world.